Let me tell you something, brother. Raw was a mistake. The same Raw event happened with my daughter and that Negro back a couple years back, brother. Those are the two Raw events that I regret witnessing. A Negro fucking my daughter and watching this shit at 8 o'clock. Welcome to the Raw Reviews, DST. Oh, God. Oh, shit. Raw. God. Fucking damn it. Why can't we have a good Raw? We opened the show up with Ric Flair over the promo, bringing up whatever Hulk Hogan have on his sleeve. It won't be enough to beat his team come Crown Jewel next week on Sunday. On Friday. Wait, SmackDown's on a Friday. How the fuck is this gonna work? Wait, does that mean what the fuck? I don't know when the hell. I think it's this Sunday. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck to call it. So, other than that, it's Ric Flair introducing Drew McIntyre. That's part of his team who returns after missing like the last 4 or 5 weeks on Raw. And coming back over the draft, but he didn't show up until right now, where he had a match against Ricochet. And let me tell you something. This match was not bad. This was a really good match. 630 reverse. They did the inverted Alabama slam, but this was after the match. He ended over with a couple moonsaults that I thought he would be reversed. So it was a really good match, and he got the 450, and I thought that was going to be in, even though his finishing move was a 630, but it was getting so many crowds hyped up the match, and the match was not dead. This was a really good match. He even pulled up a shooting star press. That still got a near fall. Recoil got reversed, and oh my god, this was such a good match. Ricochet nearly won. But this is a good match, but this does nothing to get Ricochet over. And this is over his match he had with Apollo Crews. Why couldn't you face off against somebody new like Buddy Murphy that came on Raw? After being on SmackDown for like 2 months. No, for like a month. After he was promoted to come on the main roster, like at fucking after WrestleMania. So this is kind of a shock to me. So, yeah. Really good match, show opener, and it has Ric Flair not even calling off Drew McIntyre when he continued to put the beat down and hit him off with the Future Shock DDT. This was a tremendous match. Please watch it if you have the time. As much as Raw sucks, watch this match. Next up was a squash match involving Aleister Black, and fans were hyped up. And they went over, somebody pick a fight with me, blah, 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 blah. He faced off against Jason Reynolds in a squash match that ends up with him using that little headlock of his. No, I think he finished it off with the Black Mass. Moonsault, bicycle knee out of nowhere. He just continued beating the shit out of him. And that was pretty much it for the squash match. Aleister Black doesn't even build up to a storyline with anybody. No other wrestler comes out. He doesn't try to face off against Ziggler. Cesaro's on Raw. There's literally guys that he's beaten that's part of the main roster. And none of them's like, oh, this guy's overrated, blah, blah, blah. He continues to try to pick fights. Why don't he try picking a fight with me? Something like this, trying to build up characters, get them to intervene, make them interact, because you have a main roster, and yet you still let guys like the War Raiders or Aleister Black. Fuck it, maybe he'll do Buddy Murphy in the future. Thanks, we've barely seen matches off him, except his 2 good matches he had with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns back on SmackDown. Do something like that. Let him intervene and make him be part of the storyline. Buddy Murphy had 2 good matches, and those are parts of when he was accused of assaulting Roman Reigns back near the end of the summer. Yeah. So after a good match opener, then we have a squash match. We had Rusev being interviewed in the King's Court with wearing the most basic attire that I wear in public. White t-shirt with some pants on and some J's. Coming around looking like a true American because I heard he became a U.S. citizen. So props to Rusev. But still, this promo was so weak, and it's like, I still love her, man. Even though she likes black dick, I still love her. And he comes around not doing anything when Bobby Lashley was like in the middle of his sights kissing his wife. He didn't do anything when he was literally massaging him in a sauna where he would be completely distracted only on Lana. But notice him in a fucking restaurant, wherever the fuck it is in Cleveland. Why the fuck would you like to go to a fancy restaurant in Cleveland, Lana, just for showing that you're a snoopy little bitch? That's not heelish. That's just retarded. Who wants to go to a high profile? If we were in New York, sure, Vegas, Florida, Cali, Texas, fine. Those are the premier places where you can go to top of the line restaurants to eat food, and the promo could make a bit of sense. But you put them in Texas and in Cleveland. And primitive heel turn of Lana just screaming the shit out of nowhere because they continue continuous vignettes of Lashley and Lana eating dinner, then coming around and some dude came out of nowhere is like, Rusev is coming. Who the fuck is this guy? Is he a liaison? Is he a messenger? What the fuck is he? And he comes around warning like Rusev, like you know Rusev personally, bitch? I wish I knew Rusev. So I can rip off that raping mustache. Looking like Ron Jeremy's autistic brother. Okay, I'm done. Okay, whatever this happened. This just happened to just maybe have a match at Survivor Series or a random match on Raw. I don't know which. WWE's terrible with building up feuds that are personal. Rey Mysterio and Brock Lesnar. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio. I can just keep it going because this happened in just one calendar year. Even the year before was fucked up. And then we had Sin Cara face off against Andrade, and this is over the little I think a shooting that occurred in the past lately. I'm not that addressed. I'm not trying to focus on the news because I'm busy on school. So see why I haven't uploaded as early as I'd like to because I had midterms last week. So apologies if you guys want to see more. I didn't know why, but you want it. Whatever. Sin Cara came in his original attire, and he came with Selena Vega, bringing off Sin Cara's name, bringing up, I think, no face. And he won't even have a face after Andrade is done with him in a really good match. What the fuck did I get myself into? Sin Cara can wrestle? All it took was him to gain 70 pounds and he can somehow wrestle with somebody the caliber of Andrade? Whew! Wow! That's impressive. That's super impressive. I don't suspect somebody like that to happen. A big-ass Hurricane Rana from outside. Tope Suicida coming from Sin Cara. Missile drop kick up to the corner. Zelina Vega obviously does that little run off the apron, Hurricane around to distract his opponents, even though it does more damage than Andrade does. Whatever this. And it ends up, of course, the Hammerlock DDT. Oh, he also came referencing a bit of a mocking homage with the Frog Splash from Vinny Grove. This was a good match, and if Andrade wanted to, if you wanted to make a mock luchadors, why don't you let him feud with a couple more luchadors other than that repetitive feud that he's been having with Rey Mysterio? That should have been way better than everybody anticipated. They had good matches, but it didn't bonus into storylines. This was a really good match, but this doesn't go anywhere. I don't know why. Other than the Drew McIntyre match, it kind of has a purpose to try to build up these dudes as being dangerous for Hogan. Aleister Black had a squash match. It didn't go to anywhere since he's not feuding with anybody. You have Rusev having a pointless little feud with Bobby Lashley that we know they're going to retcon later on this year because they really get further on feuds other than 3 or 4 months. And Andrade and Sin Cara that had a tremendous match. 2 good matches in the show. Hats off to Sin Cara. I felt like he was the MVP. Did well. but it doesn't go anywhere. I don't think there was any women's matches for the entire show. But we're trying to build up this huge women's revolution if it doesn't go anywhere. And then we have the Viking Raiders facing off against. And no, my fault. Sorry, I forgot a segment that happened later on. It was some dude that was also drafted to Raw like in the third round last week, commenting on after the Andrade match, and he could barely fucking speak. Like Rollins burning it down. I don't know if that's a reference to what he did last week on Raw, burning down the compound because Bray Wyatt's going to SmackDown after their little match. They're gonna have a crown jewel, and comes around. It's like, come on, man. What's wrong with getting valets or managers that can speak their language and translate it? Zelina Vega has it. Why can't you get Hispanic wrestlers? They don't have to wrestle. Just let them be goddamn pro. Learn how to promo. Get some of the current wrestlers as as managers for promos. Leo Rush did it, and he's came from a giant ass suspension, being the current cruiserweight champion. So I know he's done something right. And he comes around awkwardly coming out like, oh, well, yeah, he's going to maybe challenge for Andrade next week on Raw. And there was also a promo later on referencing that the Street Profits will have a match against the OC, and they will secretly call out who's going to be their six-man tag partner against the OC. Yeah. So, fuck me. It was Andrade. It was then there was a segment involving it was a segment involving Rey Mysterio bringing up that my brother, my man is going to give Brock Lesnar that scar, Holmes. Yeah, sure. A man that could barely convince using fake UFC blow strikes and trying to treat Shelton Benjamin like he isn't already a jobber and getting bitched at for it. Rey Mysterio looking like a little ass pussy ass bitch. And he's the guy who's beaten bigger guys than Brock Lesnar before, so I don't understand what's the problem. We're making this a personal feud thanks he embarrassed you and your son. So you like Cain Velasquez, a UFC fighter that has very little ring experience, not only get a pay-per-view match against the guy, a one-on-one title defense for the World Championship against the guy. I don't understand the motive of what WWE is trying to do here. I don't know what kind of wrestling experience Cain Velasquez has, or the very little that he has, because I have more reliance that fucking Tyson Fury will give me a more convincing match. Thanks, literally all he has to do is stomp and do those dumbass punches. Maybe Chuck, goddamn, maybe he's going to a clothesline Strowman a few times, and then that will be the match. Also, Fernando Carrillo faced off against Seth Rollins, and that wasn't even the main event. Thanks, it was a young dude facing off against the world champion. No, I'm sorry, the Universal Champion. And I'm watching it right now, and this is why Rollins is the weakest world champion ever. As good as he is, the last good match he had was against AJ Styles. And AJ Styles can convincingly make a main event match. Rollins cannot unless he's with a legit main eventer. And Fernando isn't one of them. It feels like a mid-card match. It feels like Rollins is still holding that Intercontinental title that he held back in 2018. Doing forearms, having a random babyface match. And I think he's only having this match thanks he referenced him after Andrade just beat Sin Cara later in the show. And he's doing a flip tope for, of course, Falcon Arrow. I'm just seeing the highlights right now. Just a generic diving knee to the head, buckle bomb, super kick. near fall. And he's doing that dumbass stomping shit. Gets countered. Oh wow, that was pretty nice. DDT. So this guy can barely speak, but he can wrestle with somebody like Seth Rollins. That's at least a point. That long ass moonsault. He thought a moonsault would be enough. Rollins using the Falcon Arrow barely gets even a completion for a move. And you're telling me that you think a simple moonsault these days are going to get the win? Rollins just wins with the curb stomp and what looked like a nice match, I guess. And Rollins just comes in, just handshakes him because he's a babyface like that. Why does Fernando look like a goddamn other Joe from Angry Joe Show? And here comes our truth, trying to find like the Bollywood boys and pin him. Oh, he pinned the wrong guy. He pinned the wrong brother. And they keep shouting Bailey, and they're threatening to bomb the arena if they don't lose the 24/7 title. So yay! And here comes the Street Profits in their debut match here on Raw. I'm just reacting to this now because I got some misinformation off the show in the highlights. So I'm just reacting to this, and I'm telling you how it is with these two ugly Negroes. They're really well in the ring. They are good wrestlers, and I can see why some people like them. They are exceptionally charismatic, if I want to be polite. And Nerve holds obviously up into Luke Gallows because he's supposed to be the generic big man, but he continues to lose every week on Raw. Barrel toss. So AJ Styles is in the court. So this was just a fucking tag team match? This is what I'm getting? I thought... So it's just who's going to be in the Street Profits corner, and they just left it as a surprise for a generic tag team match for the main event. Against two teams that are not even the Raw Tag Team Champions, not even in a built-up storyline. They're just feuding with the Street Profits now. That I know they might just have a rematch next week on Raw. And here comes Montez. No, that ain't Ford. That's... Oh my god. I forgot this Negro's name. Oh shit. They all look the same because they're black. Here comes Styles getting into Ford. And that Arn Anderson-ass spine buster from Carl Anderson. Because they have the same name. Last name. Here comes Styles. And okay, he's out the corner. Get your bitch ass out of here. And Kevin Owens comes in. I think he said son of a bitch. And here he is giving that dumbass stunner. And a Top Gun Holo. Then Spinebuster. And then forward with that long ass. That's incredible. That's an incredible ass frog splash. But that's the end. Just for Kevin Owens to show up. Because Styles and Owens used to feud for the US title back on SmackDown. So. Yep. And he hits him with that dumbass stunner. And he had like one knee out to take a stunner outside. And that's Raw. There was 3 good matches. At least you're trying to build up to something. I did not like the promos from Fernando. I thought it was supposed to be a 6-man tag for the main event. And the surprise tag team partner was going to be Kevin Owens. If they want to do something like that, because he just got his career back on SmackDown, so I don't know why he's going back to Raw. Former Universal Champion, after he just quit last time he was on Raw last year. And then he comes around just feuding with DOC. I'll give Raw a 5 out of 10. The matches were good, but the show was mediocre. There was very little build-up. Why wasn't there no Becky Lynch or Charlotte or any promos from anybody? No women's tag champions. There was, like, try to get everybody involved in your show so you have something to build up with. I don't care much about the Street Profits other than they already are victorious against the OC in their debut match in the main event. Then we have Rollins face off against a jobber no one cares about for the next remainder of the year. Then we got 2 good matches that were entertaining to watch. I'm gonna give him that. Ric Flair getting a promo intervening into some of the match in a good match he had with Ricochet, but this doesn't get anybody over except Ric Flair. Just to build up what's going to happen on SmackDown. So this is still a SmackDown and Raw recap show. Just involving a bit of the storylines, still involving old and fat, lonely midgets that know that their business is failing. Get ready for XFL reviews soon. I'm not recapping the draft. I'm just going to recap some of the off season. And yeah, I was mildly entertained but somewhat disappointed. I'm just giving it a 5 out of 10 because I just finished midterms. Give me a break. And the show wasn't that bad if you get to rewatch it. Just watch it when they get the 40-minute recap if you have Hulu, or watch a 2-hour version when you got the network. So that's all I'm telling you. Thank you for watching, or just go on YouTube and watch the highlights. People don't give a fuck about WWE's copyright right now. So this is DST shining out. Subscribe, like, comment, do all that crazy stuff. Make you happy. Makes me happy. It gets me very little money.